Hi everyone. Hope you're all doing good. Okay, so this is the fourth round draw for the 33rd edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game. In the third round, we had 11, and not many of you actually got eliminated last week because we've got seven left in this game. Of course, that's a very cold comfort for the four that were eliminated, but in the grand scheme of things, not the highest elimination rate. So we've still got seven left in the fourth round here. Just to quickly remind ourselves who those seven lucky bastards are. They are Bellatrix, Damien Handel for 20, KK Kombu, Piggy Bank, me, Steve Terry, Trail Orman, and ex-con Chris. So that's they're the seven lucky bastards still in it. We're starting to get towards the business end of this competition now. Um, we've definitely had games end in this stage with seven, with less than seven, with more than seven rather. So there might be another round after this, or this could well be the last. But in any case, we have for this fourth round we have UFC Fight Night, Arman Tarsukian versus Dan Hooker, and so obviously Tarsukian is obviously great form at the moment, coming off of that win over Charles Oliveira, and obviously the knockout win of Benil Dariush before that. And he's a massive favourite here, and rightly so, to be honest. I think Dan Hooker's really got his work cut out. He's last time he got that split decision win against Mateus Gamrot, but it's again it's just a bit of a mismatch, shall we say? There's no getting around it. I've got Tarsukian to win in the fourth round by knockout, mainly on the basis of the fact that he's always has that. Well, I say I know it's a bit cliche, but yeah, he does always carry that knockout power, and he's comfortable going the distance as well. So he's carries that power late into the fights as well if need be. Hooker, very experienced, and he has been knocked out before, but you do kind of have to wear him down quite a lot. He doesn't give up. He's got a lot of heart, to be fair. But I think sooner or later, uh, the work rate from Tarsuki is just going to be too much for Dan Hooker to handle, and that'll be the end of things. And interestingly as well, Tarsukian is actually one of the fighters in our Lucky Bastard Game Hall of Fame. Of course, for anyone unfamiliar, it's where if a fighter wins a game for a actual user in this, they get put into the Lucky Bastard Game Hall of Fame to commemorate their role in helping to defeat the wheel. And Tarsukian won the fourth edition for Piggy Bank in the fifth round. So and there's a couple of others actually. There's a going down the card. We've got Alonso Menefeld. He's also in the Lucky Bastard game, and Tagir Ulanbekov as again. So quite a big card. 14 fighters and 14 fights, 28 fighters rather, and three of them are in Lucky Bastard Game Hall of Fame. But we'll see if any of those come up. But the only way to find out is to get on with the draw. Let's see if any of these Hall of Famers end up in tonight's video, end up in the tomorrow night's action. First up, Bellatrix. Let's see who Bellatrix is going to be paired with. Bellatrix gets Asu Almabayev. Asu Almabayev there for Bellatrix. And I've got him to win by a decision against Alex Perez, the flyweight contest. Asu Alma going to win by decision, to be more precise. He's uh, quite a big sub threat, quite a big submission threat, really. So I suppose most people are probably thinking that Alan Bayev's going to be winning this fight by submission, but um, Alex Perez is not the most consistent fighter, but he is experienced. And to be honest, I think I think Perez is still good enough that despite his the fact that he's uh, had a bit of a rough time as of late, like losing four of his last five fights, he's still got that experience to weather the storm that Alan Bayev's going to be no doubt throwing at him. So I'm expecting a fairly grappling heavy fight as uh, Almabayev looks for the finish on the ground, but I think Perez will be able to hold him off, but I don't think he's going to be able to pose too much of a challenge for Almabayev. And Almabayev's proved as before that he's comfortable going the distance as well, so we know he's got the stamina to do that. So that's not going to be an issue. So yeah, I'm fairly confident in that one. I think that's a good draw. I think it's Bellatrix should be very happy with that one. Um, Very good chance of making it to a hypothetical fifth round. Will Damien handle 420 be as lucky? Let's see. Let's see who the duck gets drawn with, and he gets Bogdan Grad. Bogdan Grad there for Damien handle 420, and for him, he's up against obviously Luke Riley, undefeated Luke Riley is, and so Bogdan, I've gone with Riley for a decision. Um, this is Riley's UFC debuts. All of his fights previously have been in Cage Warriors, 11-0, all 11 of them in Cage Warriors. So and that's rare actually, because most UK fighters at least will start their have for the first three or four fights, it'll be for some local promotion nobody's ever heard of, and then go on to Cage Warriors. But the fact that he's had all his career in Cage Warriors is that shows there's still a lot of potential in him, and obviously that potential has now been realised with his UFC debut just around the corner. And Bogdan Grad, on the other hand, he's 1-1 in the UFC, um, but not really too much of a challenge. I wouldn't have thought, to be honest. He lost the unanimous decision against Muhammad's Naimov for the last time out. He looks, which I say, it's not that's not too bad a loss. Thinking about it, but it does look like he's got his work cut out here, and it does look like the UFC have also seen that potential that the management of Cage Warriors saw in Luke Riley. Uh, I'm going with the decision win for Luke Riley, as I've mentioned earlier. So as for Bogdan Grad, if he is going to get the win and get Damien Handel through this round, how's he going to do it? I think probably knockout is his best option. But I think Luke Riley's just too defensively sound and he's not going to be stupid enough to make any take any unnecessary risks and potentially open himself up to getting knocked out. But so yeah, I'm quite confident in Luke Riley, which isn't good news for Damien Handel, who's obviously got Bogdan Grad. But best of luck to you anyway, Damien, and let's see if you make it through. Um, Anything can happen in MMA. Stranger things have happened. KK Kombu is next to learn his fate. Let's see who the wheels got in store for KK Kombu. And he gets one of the co-main eventers, the former welterweight champion Bilal Muhammad. Bilal Muhammad there for KK Kombu up against Ian Machado Gary, who there's no way that fight doesn't go the distance. Is that's for sure. both Muhammad and Gary tend to win fights over the distance. If it is going to end inside the distance, then it's probably most likely to end by Gary because he's much more of a knockout threat than Muhammad is. But it's going to be a very wrestling heavy fight, so I'm sure a lot of casuals are going to hate that fight. But it is a great fight, actually. It is. I suppose to an extent you could almost make an argument for it being a title eliminator as such, because I mean welterweight at the moment is absolutely stacked, and this is of course the first time Muhammad has fought since losing his title to Jack Della Maddalena, who of course lost last weekend to Islam Makhachev, and so he's still up there, right at the top end of the division. Ian Machado Gary has steadily been making his case for a title shot over the last few years. So this is a very important fight for both fighters here. Um, a lot on the line. So because of that, I'm not going to say either of them should be taking any crazy risks. But Bilal Muhammad, he's going to stick to his usual game plan for me. I think in that is just completely control the fight with his wrestling and see out unanimous decision, try and earn another title shot from it. And that's what I'm expecting him to do. Um, Close fight for sure, though, so it's not going to be easy. I suppose it's fair to say KK Kombu is in a bit of a 50-50 one here, but I do slightly favour Bilal in this one. So I think he's got a reasonable chance of getting through to a hypothetical fifth round. Definitely could have been worse. There's definitely some larger underdogs on the card. Okay, next up is Piggy Bank. Let's see who the wheel has in store for Piggy Bank. Well, and Piggy Bank gets Luke Riley. Luke Riley for Piggy Bank, making that our first head-to-head of the evening, because of course uh, Damien Handel for 20 was drawn with Bogdan Grad earlier. So that's Damien Handel versus Piggy Bank, Luke Riley versus Bogdan Grad, and yeah, as I've mentioned a few minutes ago, I favour Luke Riley heavily for this, the undefeated Cage Warriors star. Uh, Looking to make an impression in the UFC, but I say I wouldn't expect him to take any unnecessary risks. Just keep keep the undefeated streak going. Start your UFC tenure off with a win, and against an opponent like Bogdan Goradze, um, I think he can afford to. Not obviously not take it easy, but I mean, just it's not the hardest test he could have. He hasn't been exactly been thrown into the deep end, in my opinion. Is what I'm trying to say. Definitely could have been worse matchups for him at featherweights. Another Shark Tank of a division. So I do think the UFC would try and give him some favourable matchups, at least to start with, before they eventually have to um, fast track him up the rankings a little bit. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've favoured Luke Riley, so I think Piggy Bank has got the more favourable side of that draw. Um, so I reckon Piggy Bank will be getting the better of Damien Handel in that one. But best of luck to both of you. And there's only three more people to do, so that's quite likely going to be our Lucky Bastard Game main event. With it being a head-to-head. Okay, so me, Stephen Terry, I am up next. Let's see who I get drawn with. Let's see who my fighter for tomorrow night is. This is the furthest I've gone in the game for a while. Let's see if my luck continues. And I won't have to wait too long to find out because I've got Marek Bujlo. I apologise if I've butchered the spelling of that one, which I almost the spelling and pronunciation of that one. won't have to wait long because he's the in the first fight on the card up against Denzel Freeman, and I've got Denzel Freeman to win by third round knockout, so that's not a good draw from my point of view. Um, so Marek is undefeated, of course. He's 6-0. Three knockouts, three submissions, never gone the distance. In fact, all of his fights have ended inside the first round. Uh, so obviously we can expect him to um, go into that first round applying a ton of pressure, looking to end it early. Uh, but Denzel Freeman is he's experienced. This is his toughest challenge yet. Uh, because it's also his UFC debut, but he has been about a bit. He's fought twice and won twice in the LFA, one and one in the PFL, where his only loss of his career came via a split decision. So he's not exactly some random regional fighter. He's shown he's fought for the some of the best of promotions outside of the UFC. Um, because of that, he can definitely survive the first round. And I don't really like it personally when I see that fighters end all their fights in the first round because we don't really know what their stamina is like mainly. We know he's fairly well rounded. We know that Marek Bulshlow is a threat on the ground and has knockout power. We've seen that equal number of times, but we haven't seen what he looks like in the second round. Does he still have that same energy? I don't think so. You just don't know. But Denzel Freeman has at least shown he's gone the distance before. So I've got more faith in Freeman than I do in Buljo. So I think that might be where, barring another first round knockout or first round submission, I think that is where my run in this game comes to an end. But it's been a good run. Okay, Trail Allman is next to learn who he's going to be paired with tomorrow night. Right on the edge there, but he's also got Luke Riley. So yeah, that's definitely going to be our Lucky Bastard Game main event there with both Piggy Bank and now Trail Allman with Luke Riley up against Damien Handel and Bogdan Grad. And yeah, last day with Riley is Cage Warriors Illume and he's prefers to try and look for the knockout. But I don't think he needs to in this one. I think he can afford to just um, play it a little bit more cautious, and he's shown he can do that. He's shown he's gone the distance before if need be, but or maybe if anything, he might take the opposite approach because it's his debut. He'll look to try and really make a name for himself and go knock Bogdan Grad out. But I don't think that would be a wise approach because Grad is the slightly more experienced of them, and he's gone the distance with some good fighters in his career as well. So I think Riley should be playing this a bit more cautiously than some of his previous performances in Cage Warriors. But in any case, I'm confident he gets the win. So as I said a couple of times earlier, especially with Piggy Bank, um, yep, I think you've got a very good chance of going through there. But for the purposes of our game, that's definitely our Lucky Bastard Game main event, 2v1 there, which with 14 different fights and seven different people on here, it's I didn't think we were actually going to get many double ups or head to heads, if any. But yeah, three of you all in. Oh, so that's about half of the field involved in the same fight. Um, so yeah, that's definitely going to be the most significant fight to watch tomorrow. Okay, so our last um, player to find a fighter for is ex-con Chris. Let's see who ex-con Chris is going to be matched with for tomorrow's action. and he gets Shakweme Rock. Uh, Apologize for absolutely butchering the first name. I know I've pronounced Rock right, but and I butchered the spelling of that one too. Queme Rock or Mr. Rock. It would be easier if I just called him Mr. Rock from here on out, or The Rock. I suppose there's a certain WWE star that's got that trademarked. Um, but I've got him to win by first round submission because that's pretty much what he's been doing his whole career on the UK regional scene. He's making his UFC debut tomorrow, and yeah, he's won most of his fights by submission, and if he sticks to his grappling, it should be an easy night for him. Particularly because he's up against Nurello Aleyev, who is 10-0, 2-0 in the UFC. Mostly decision wins, but on paper it looks good. But bearing in mind he's still fairly green, he's still a little bit inexperienced. But the worrying thing for me, particularly against somebody like Mr. Rock here, is that Aleyev has never won or lost a fight by submission. So what's going on with the screen share thing there? But I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, um, yeah, as I was saying, it's never won or lost a fight by submission. And when you're up against a submission specialist like um, Shakame Rock, is that's not a good sign because obviously he's going to be taken down and he's really going to be tested in that realm tomorrow night. We're going to learn a lot about Aleyev's grappling ability. But yeah, just given just such a complete clash of styles, really. But in this case, I'm definitely favouring the wrestler or the or submission specialist, and I think that gives ex-con Chris a fairly good chance of getting through to the fifth round, which I'm now fairly certain there will be a fifth round. Okay, so that concludes the fourth round draw for the Tapology the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game, uh, 33rd edition. So I'll just run through those names one more time just to remind ourselves. We have Bellatrix with Asu Almabayev, Damien Handel 420 with Bogdan Grad, KK Kombu with Bilal Muhammad, Piggy Bank with Luke Riley, Steve Terry with Marek Buljo, Trail Allman also with Luke Riley, and Ex-Con Chris with Shakwame Rock. So, um, I think about half of you are getting through. Quite a few potentially. I'd say maybe four, possibly five get through this round. So, I don't think the game's going to end here. I'll be very surprised if it does. All in all, I guess we're going to be seeing you all in a fifth round next week. But all it leaves me to say is good luck to all of you in the game here, particularly those in our Lucky Bastard game main events. That'll be of course, Luke Riley versus Bogdan Grad. That'll be a very interesting one to keep an eye on. And obviously, good luck with your picks on Tapology in general. Especially if you got any real life bets on this card. But until next week, so long for now.